I have some bad news. For me. This is the explosion, this is the backlog, and this week I wanted to play through some Sonic, and that went horribly. You see, I have a copy of Sonic Rush Adventure that I bought off eBay a while ago. I liked the first Sonic Rush, but put it down when I got stuck in a part where the whole dual screen thing was screwing with me, so I've been sitting on this one for a while. I finally slapped it into my new 3DS, and nothing. I remembered having some trouble with getting that to read a game in the past though, so I slapped it into my 3DS, and nothing. Then I dug out my original DS, slapped it into that instead, and still nothing. At least I don't have to worry about the systems themselves being busted, but darn, this is why when you buy a game, especially used, you gotta try that stuff out immediately. With about 100 games left to get through, this remains a concern. While I might try to track down another copy, for right now, that takes the game off the list, though in the most disappointing way possible. Actually, is a busted cartridge or disc the worst way to clear something, or is having a game so bad that I just give it up? I mean, hypothetically, Sonic Rush Adventure could still be an excellent title. Maybe it's both, like when I had an extremely scratched and unplayable copy of Warriors of Troy that only became slightly better when I got a readable disc and soon gave it up in disgust. Twice! Pretty sure I awarded that game worse than Cho from what I played last year. Anyway, it seems to get decent scores online, so it's probably worth playing. If anyone has any glowing reviews to hand out though, let me know and maybe I'll make finding a working copy more of a priority. So since Rush Adventure didn't work, I decided to give another game from the series a spin, this time the Dark Brotherhood RPG. I've only played it for an hour or two, and so far I'm not the biggest fan. It's for the DS, and that seems to have given the developers the idea that everything needs to be controlled with a touchscreen. It just makes me think, my dude, you have buttons and a D-pad, at least give me the option to use those instead. Navigating the overworld is especially weird. Besides that, there's already some pacing issues and parts where I wonder if either the creators are bad at communicating or game design. It's really rough and I was actually thinking of dropping it, but it's an RPG, so maybe grinding a bit will help things along. I'll recalibrate my touchscreen and give the game one more play session, and if my experience does not improve, I'll just be done with it. If I keep playing it, it might be a bit before I finish it since I have other stuff I'm playing, but if I do drop it, I'll discuss specifics next week. I don't think it's a favorite with the fanbase, so I shouldn't be missing out on much, and with the size of my backlog, I don't really have time to mess around with something mediocre that's frustrating to play. And I've hit a bit of a time sink. I kinda predicted it would be, but 3 Houses came out and I'm having trouble not playing it. Even making this video right now, I'm thinking about how I'd rather be playing that, and like with Legends Arceus, it's screwing with my sleep schedule. Though, unlike Arceus, I'm currently employed, so it's more important that I fix that. I actually have to go in instead of teleworking tomorrow, so I better fix it fast. The first night, I played until around 1 AM. The next day, I actually avoided playing it until the afternoon because I knew I'd have trouble stopping once I started, and then went until 2 AM. I'm also having a problem where I keep doing things I'm not supposed to. At one point, a boss drops in that's glowing red that one character tells me might be fun to fight to test myself against, but everyone else urges me to avoid and complete another objective to get them to retreat, so of course I fight them. I keep quick stepping behind them to avoid getting hit and whittle down their health until they're in kill range, and I activate my dual special with my paired unit, and right as I'm locked into the attack, the enemy says that they didn't need to actually beat me to win and walks off, disappearing from the field while I just continue to strike at nothing. Then my character spends the entire scene after the mission saying about how strong the enemy was and about how he lost in every way that was important, and I'm thinking, no we didn't, we whooped. After I beat that unit, they did drop a rare item, so maybe that was supposed to be a bribe to just keep quiet and play along. But no, I won that battle I was supposed to run from. The same thing happened later, but this time it was much harder, even with some backup, though I did get their health bar down. This time though, they rallied and just refilled all their HP, and the game pretty much told me to just do the damn objective I was supposed to be completing, so I reluctantly did just that. I guess one of my allies telling me in the first battle that it'd be fun to give it a whirl was my hint that it would be difficult but not impossible. Besides that, I am having a great time with the game. I wasn't sure how I'd like the formula of having so many battle options instead of just a chapter list I fought through, but I'm really getting into it and trying to see everything. With how many things seem missable though, I am experiencing some FOMO. I'm also having a fairly easy time with things on normal. The protagonist, Shez, seems very overpowered, and she's probably a bit overleveled where I'm at, but I'm also able to do things with characters that are underleveled and in bad matchups, so I'm able to get stuff done from both angles. When the game tells me that such and such a character is fighting at a disadvantage or almost routed, if I'm able to swap to that unit, I almost have to laugh as I take out whatever they're up against in 30 seconds. That does raise one issue though, and that's that the AI is not as effective as the demo led me to believe. Sure, they can normally get things done, but it tends to take them a while, so directing a unit to a task and then swapping to them is the way to go. Of course, as quickly as everyone can move around the map, it can be hard to keep up with and give you whiplash, switching all the time. It can also be a bit disorienting switching between classes. You'll have one character mastered, only to get a better class for them to promote to, and then have to learn a whole new moveset. I do definitely love the variety and customization this offers, and there seems to be a lot more here when compared to the previous Fire Emblem Warriors. I think my main issue and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because the main character, Shez, has an exclusive class, Flugel, which is really good, but I promoted her into a Sword Master, which has better stats but inferior combos in my opinion. And since that's the primary unit I'm using, it might be making me see a non-issue. I said in the past that the game has a lot of functions, and when I came back to the full game, there were some things I forgot or in some cases never fully grasped in the first place, but it hasn't really hampered my experience. Two other things that have been added since are expeditions and pre-battle strategies. Expeditions are pretty much this game's version of tea time, but it feels even more like a date. You invite out a unit on a one-on-one outing, where you ride out to a secluded location on horse, then lounge about on a picnic blanket and converse. You choose topics of conversation and choose a response to what your partner says, and they can either react poorly, neutrally, or positively. It feels so silly and unnecessary, yet I can't help but love it and put more weight into trying to attain the perfect conversation than I should. I'm actually kinda frustrated that I wasn't able to get one of these in the outings I recorded for the video, though I did manage a few on my own, I promise. While all they seem to raise is support, and only with Shez, who already seems to have the easiest time doing so, they are fun. As for the strategies, there are already some you can employ in battle, such as targeting or defending certain targets, but now there are some you can plan in advance as well for the end of chapter battle. You get a list of so many options and have so many points you can allocate into them, so you have to choose which ones you think will benefit you most. Then, when you reach a certain point on the map, you get the option to implement the strat. Some will help you in that fight specifically, such as creating a new path for ease of travel or healing allies that you need to rescue. The ones I always look for though are recruitments, which will add a specific enemy unit to your side after you defeat them. This was always a big part of the mainline Fire Emblem games, but it'd be a little weird in a Warriors game, so the first didn't have it. I was surprised to see it here, but also excited. Sometimes, strategies won't be available if you don't have a certain unit or didn't complete a certain side objective, so I've been super invested in trying to do everything so that I can unlock everyone. The game continues to surprise and draw me in, so this will be my life for the foreseeable future. So far, I've only gotten game over 2 times, and those were in paralogs, which I think are supposed to be a little bit harder. The first one was when I had to guard an NPC who had no sense of self-preservation, and the other one was in a mission where I did not realize that one of the objectives was mandatory. I thought it was optional, so that one was on me. Anyway, I hope to have my first playthrough done by next week, so I'll have a more thorough review then. But for right now, just know that I recommend it to both Three Houses and Muso fans. So, due to an unfortunate happenstance, the backlog is down to 105. Maybe I'll have a more legitimate elimination for next week, but hey, that's how we're ending things off this week. As always, thanks for watching, and if you have any interest in this, Three Hopes, or just general Mega Man content, maybe consider subscribing. See ya!